welcome back to part 2, my friends. It is raining heavily outside. I don't know if you can hear that rain or not. It is very, very heavy. It is bucketing down outside the studio, very heavy. It's been like this for the past couple of days. Here we are in part 2 anyway. I've taken off the masking tape and we're down to the water. Let's paint the water and then focus on the boat, yes? I think that's probably the best way to do this. I'll take a large brush. I'm not going to worry about the boat. And let's just start painting the water. Okay, stamping the brush. I haven't put no linseed oil on this now, it's just as it is. I'm going to mix a nice pink, a pinky kind of a mauve again, similar to what we did for the sky, but a bit more of a bluey shade, a nice warm blue. Okay, let's call this a nice warm blue. Let's have a look at this. Okay, I think we need a bit more thinners and a bit more magenta, possibly a touch of cadmium red. We could start with a kind of a warm colour first, and then we can work in, we can build up our layers. Now, do you know what I'm going to do? Because it's very dry, the canvas is so kind of dry and soaking, I'm going to take some thinners and run some thinners across the canvas very lightly, just to help me with my paint coverage, so to speak. Let's try that again now. Let's take some Phaylo blue, some magenta, and a little bit of white. Let's try this time now. Okay, a bit too blue. I need more magenta on my palette. When you're painting something like this, try to just pick out the colours, try and separate the colours from what you see. So for instance, I'm looking at the reference photograph and I just simply see a nice warm kind of a mauvey shade. So I'm just going to paint in a nice warm mauvey shade. Doesn't have to be perfect. It only has to be similar. Alright, because you can change it as you go. Now let's go up and cut across the horizon line up there with this nice mix. Let's just get a nice sharp line. A nice crisp line, they say. There we go. That's the hard part done. Now we can continue down and get all these lovely, wonderful colours together on the canvas. Let's have a bit of fun with this now. Come on. Let's really just let loose and just have some nice fun. I'm going to start going into a nice pinky, a warm pinky shade. Cadmium red, magenta and a little white. And I'm going to just start adding a bit of light here and there. There's plenty of light on this ocean as well. Again, a bit more cadmium red, a bit more magenta, even possibly a touch of Naples yellow. It'll give us a nice soft pinky shade. I'm just going to dart around on the canvas, just sort of dance around, adding this colour here and there over that blue. So now you can see it's gone a nice kind of a soft colour, isn't it? Because what we need to remind ourselves of when painting this is, you see these lovely yellowy colours and oranges. You see, if we put them over the blue, it's going to go green. It's going to go a very mucky, greeny kind of a shade. Because yellow and blue makes green. So it's going to get very mucky. And what I want to do is just avoid that. So I'm putting a very kind of a soft pink in here and there over the blue. You see, I'm just kind of swishing it around here and there. Just to prepare. I'm preparing the canvas, that's what I'm doing. I'm preparing the painting for the orange. So a bit of light pink. Just soften it around here and there on your blue. Just flick it around. Okay? Now, you can already see the colours starting, the balance is getting better in the colours, isn't it? I think next what I'll do is I will just get some more white on my palette and then we'll go for some nice soft yellowy orange colours. Yes? Let's get this small brush that we had earlier. We have some yellow on this already, so that's fine. I'm going to go with a very soft colour. I want to take Naples yellow, a little bit of cadmium yellow and a touch of magenta. That's going to give us this sort of peachy, pinky colour. okay? We don't want too much yellow in this now. It needs to be a lot more kind of on the pinky side. So it's a very soft colour. Let's have a look. You see that? Now, even more pink again. And I'm just going to go along with that colour, and I want to just create a little bit of light on the ocean. And you can probably really hear the rain overhead now. It's really bad. It's getting really, really heavy outside, almost like a storm. So I don't know if you can hear it or not through the microphone, but I hope it's relaxing. You know, it can be quite relaxing sometimes, can't it? To listen to rain, heavy rain. And I love listening to the rain like that. Now, you see how I'm doing that? I'm just taking that Naples yellow and that little touch of magenta, and I'm just going to going across, creating these little, let's say, crests in the water, you know what I mean? These little crests. And this is a very slow process. Try to take your time and try not to rush all of this, okay? Just really try to take your time, because there's no rush. If you rush through this, it'll just make a mess. So bear that in mind. Just take your time. If you feel it's getting too much for you, you can just stop and take a break. I'm just using Naples yellow, magenta and some white. And as they come up, they get a little bit thinner. You see? I'm just creating these little crests in the waves. Clean the tip of your brush. And they'll start kind of levelling out a little bit as well as they go off into the distance. Oh, so far, that's looking quite nice, isn't it? Now we start going for some darker shades. So we're doing the very same with darker shades, darker rich colours. Let's get some phthalo blue, and let's get plenty of magenta. That's a nice, rich, thick colour now, okay? You could even add some cadmium red to tone that down a bit more as well. So I have a nice, rich, deep, purpley, kind of a plummy shade, okay? Let's try this now, just on one, and see how it goes. Let's just go like this, look. And then it comes back over here again. There. A bit more blue, perhaps? Okay. A tiny bit more blue. I'm simply just kind of swishing the brush across. Like so. Just creating just that impression of lots of little ripples and waves sort of cresting, starting to crest over. It's a very soft, still kind of water. So now as we come up, let's just take more magenta, a bit more magenta, get slightly more pinky and thinner. Lots of thin little lines, look. And starting to take shape. Just put these underneath those lighter brush strokes that you did just a moment ago. Now I'm going to get a little bit richer and deeper with some of these. Let's try some cadmium red in this and get a slightly deeper shade. It's slowly coming together, isn't it? And this all takes time, my friends. It takes lots of time. Just don't rush it. As I keep saying, just take your time with all of this. There's no rush. Just putting a bit of pink in there. I am going to put a dark line You see up by the boat, there's a very dark line up there, isn't there? I don't know what it is, probably just from the boat. Let's just put a dark line across the painting and off into the distance. Now I'm going to start getting deeper again. I'm going to take some phthalo blue and a bit of lamp black. And I want to just reinforce the deep blueness of this scene, okay? So a little bit of phthalo blue with lamp black and just go back over some of those from the outside in. I don't want to go across too much in the centre. I want to keep that for my lovely rich oranges and yellows, okay? And let that just fizzle out as it goes way off into the distance. And we can keep catching hints of light now as well as we're going along. This is just the very early stages. Don't forget, you know, this is just sort of the filling in stage of the water. Get a soft brush and let's just soften across some of those. Pull them in, leave them soften away. Give it a nice soft effect on the water. Okay. Now for those lovely oranges. We need to start bringing orange, a nice soft orange across the painting here and there, okay? So I'm just cleaning this brush now really, really well. And I'm going to take some cadmium yellow, cadmium red, and I'm also going to take some magenta. So we want this again to be a very kind of, it's not a yellowy orange, it's a reddy orange. I want to make a kind of a reddy orange shade for this. So I'm just going to go very gently with this reddy shade. I'm going to start picking out just little highlights on top of those lighter shades, okay? Being very careful not to go near your blues. Just keep them very soft in the lighter spots, okay? You can start to see the orange coming through, can't you? And the reflection from the sky. I'm going to go up and I'm going to put a nice reflection of that sun in up on top. I'm going to take some cadmium yellow, cadmium red. I'm going to go up here. You see how that's kind of mixing and going a green? That's why we always add plenty of pink into an orange when you're putting it over a bluey shade. Plenty of pink into it, don't be shy. Let that just disappear. I go into some cadmium red, a little bit of white, and I'll start my lights with this colour because that will just help neutralise any muddiness later on. When I go to put on the bright yellowy whites, it will neutralise any of those kinds of colours from showing through. You can start to see it come together, can't you? Again, cadmium red, let's get some Naples yellow in that. We have a rich kind of a pinky shade, don't we? I start generally with a pink. When I'm doing reflections, especially when it's wet on wet, if I'm doing reflections from a sunset on water, I'll always start with this sort of a pinky shade first, and then I put my yellows on top. So that just allows the yellows to sit much, much easier on your canvas, okay? Over your blues especially. It does work, I promise, just try it. The next time you're doing sunsets, put pink on first before you do your yellows. And it just really helps. Now let's start doing some of these yellows. In fact, I'm going to get some of the warm, deep, browny colours as well. Now, watch this. Let me show you something. Let's try this and see what happens. Let's just try it. You see that deep browny kind of a colour there? Bit of black maybe as well. So it's a deep browny red. I want to pop a little bit of that in here. A little bit of black, a little bit of cadmium red. I just want to see how it looks. It's not too bad. It's a kind of more of a softer shade, isn't it? Yeah, it's not bad. It's okay. We can correct a lot of this. If it needs to be corrected, that is. Let's start putting some of these nice bright colours in for the sun. Cadmium yellow, a bit of white. And I'm going to take a touch of cadmium red for now. I'll show you why. I'm going to start with this rich orangey colour first, okay? See that rich kind of a shade we have? I'm going to start with that first. And then I'll put my bright yellows on top. I'm just putting a little bit on here and there. Nice deep orange. And it just goes on top of some of those white areas. A little bit more red again. A bit of yellow. Just on each ridge, okay? And I know this is all very slow, the way it's working. I know it's very, very slow. It takes time. But you will get there eventually. Just bear with me and just tell yourself, yes, it is going to be absolutely fine. It's going to look lovely. Now, a bit of rich white and yellow across the centres of some of those. Again, avoiding the blue. Just keep it out of the blue. The blue is not our friend here, okay? I keep building up. Just keep building it up. Cadmium yellow, a little bit of white. And get a nice point on the tip of your brush. That's very important as well. Get a nice crisp point on your brush. Avoid using brushes that are very sort of opened out. If you can get a nice flat edge on your brush, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Then, once we do that, it's simply a case of going into some almost pure white. Just a little bit of yellow, but almost white, okay? And now we get the real brightness in on top of that. I might actually use a palette knife. Will we try a palette knife, my friends? Come on. Let's try a palette knife for this. That will give us much more of an impact, I think, won't it? So let's just go like this. Now that starts to look a bit better, doesn't it? And come down here, just kind of in the middle, and leave it just filter off to the side. And it can get bigger as it comes down as well, if you like. I think that's all right. I am pretty happy with that for now. I think I'll leave it at that. and we start our boat, shall we? Shall we give it a go, my friends? I think we should. I think we have time. Painting the boat is quite easy in itself. Look, just simplify it. Let's just take some blue and some black. Bit of cadmium red perhaps. Now it's going to be just almost black really, okay? Let's put the the boat itself in. It's simply like that, comes down like that, comes across, okay? It's something like that, isn't it? Because it's facing us, it's going towards us, isn't it? Now, I put a little bit of a light blue just there, soften it away. So it's catching the lights very slightly from the sunset. And then we're just going to give a hint of something on top of the boat, okay? There's a bit of a cabin, lots of little bits and pieces on the boat. I'll take a bit of cadmium red, I think, as well. Pop a little bit of cadmium red in there, just to give it a little bit of colour. And then go into black. Let's just sit that down on the water and give it a couple of wiggles here and there. The next thing I want to do is take a small detail brush and just put a suggestion maybe of some people or something on the boat. So let's just put a suggestion of someone standing on the boat here. Okay, like that. And there's lots of bits and pieces then going on, isn't there? There's little poles sticking up and all that kind of thing. And then we also have a bit of highlight going on, don't we? A little light blue. Pop a little light blue here and there. Just to give us an indication of what's going on. Now let's paint the sail. I'm going to paint a very loose outline of the sail, very watery mix of a dark blue. And I'm going to go first like this. Let's just go up on an angle, like so. All right, there we are. Let's paint the shape of that triangle. Now it comes out like this, doesn't it? Then it comes up quite high. Now it doesn't matter if that's not perfect. It really doesn't matter, my friends. You just take your time with that. I'm going to get a deep blue and a touch of magenta. Do try this, okay? Really, honestly, it's not as difficult as you think. Once you start, it's actually not as difficult. I know it looks like a lot, but when you just start getting into it, it will make sense. Just take your time, please. Just take your time. But have fun. The only reason we're all here is to have a bit of fun, aren't we? Now, get some deeper blue and a bit of black. Then I'll just fill in the top of that. pointy brush. And I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush actually, and I'm just going to put some black up on top. Soften that down, and then a little bit of black perhaps just along the bottom. And then we have the reflection, my friends. It's very, very simple, okay? Let's, first of all, put a bit of black on the mast here. People think reflections are very difficult, that there's a lot of work on reflections. There can be if you make it a lot of work. I am just going to simply take some magenta, some blue and a little black, and I'm simply going to go under here and I'm going to give it a wiggle as it comes down, okay? It comes over at an angle, just follow the same angle. So the angle is going slightly this way, you bring the reflection slightly this way, okay? That's all, just do that. Then I'll take some black, I'll put a little bit of black towards the end here. I want to pick out certain spots on this, okay, you see? Certain spots. Particularly up here, nice and dark. And it's that simple, my friends. Just keep going like this. Wiggle your brush as you come down. Just keep wiggling, that's all. But try having a bit of fun with it. Now the next thing I'm going to do, my final step, and I have 10% left in my power on the camera. We're nearly there. Is take some blue, a little bit of white, and I'm going to bring a little highlight across some of those. That's all. I'm just going to swing a little highlight across in between some of those just to break it up. So you can see that does break it up a little bit, doesn't it? I don't have any blue left, I'll just take a tiny bit of blue from there. And there we are. Now my friends, I'm calling this finished. Look, we don't need to keep at it. We can just call this finished. I'm quite happy with all of this. You can put little highlights in here and there if you want. See? Small highlights. Completely up to yourself. And let's put one or two small little details up on top. Just to finish this off. You can suggest little strings and all that kind of thing if you want. There we are. sunset sailboat finished, my friends. I hope you enjoyed watching, as I have enjoyed painting it. I really have, and it actually turned out much nicer than I was expecting, I'll be honest. A little bit of orange just around here and there. Just a bit. And there we go. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed. That's quite nice. I think that's a lovely little painting. I'm very happy with that. I apologise if maybe I kind of dragged it on a little bit, but I'm trying to take my time and show you the process. Do try it. You could simplify this quite easily and just put a couple of basic brush strokes in there, but don't forget to wiggle your brush with those reflections. Make nice big swoops with those reflections, big movements. Have some fun with this. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. Thank you to my patrons. Have a lovely day, and God bless. I'll see you again very soon. Take care.